You're standing in a conversation. The other person leans against the wall. A few seconds later, without ever deciding to, you lean too. You think nothing happened, you think you were just talking, but the real answer is far stranger than that. Right now, in nearly every interaction you have, you are quietly copying the person in front of you. Their posture, their rhythm, the tilt of their head, you are not aware of it. That is exactly why it works. Watch two friends at a cafe sometime. One picks up their cup. Seconds later, the other does too. One crosses their legs, the other follows. Nobody planned it. Nobody noticed it. So why does it happen? In 1999, two psychologists named Tanya Chartrand and John Bargh ran an experiment at New York University. They had people work on a simple task alongside a partner. What the participants didn't know was that the partner was an actor, and that actor had been told to do specific things. Rub their face, shake their foot, nothing dramatic, just small, quiet movements. The participants had no idea they were being tested on anything but the task. Yet when the actor rubbed their face, the participants started rubbing their faces too. When the actor shook a foot, feet started shaking across the room. They caught it like a cold. They never knew they'd caught anything. Chartrand and Bargh called it the chameleon effect, the tendency to unconsciously mirror the posture, mannerisms, and expressions of the people around you, not because you decide to, because your brain does it for you underneath your awareness all day long. And here's the part that should stop you. The participants weren't trying to be liked. They weren't trying to fit in. They had no goal at all. The copying happened anyway. It was automatic. It was invisible. It was already running. So why would a brain be built this way? Why would evolution wire you to imitate strangers you'll never see again? To answer that, you have to go back further, much further, into the tissue of the brain itself. In the early 1990s, a team of neuroscientists in Parma, Italy, led by a researcher named Giacomo Rizzolatti, was studying the brains of macaque monkeys. They had placed electrodes in the region that controls movement. When a monkey reached for a peanut, a specific set of neurons would fire. Ordinary stuff, expected. Then something happened that nobody expected. One of the researchers reached for a peanut himself, and inside the monkey's brain, the same neurons fired. The monkey hadn't moved, it had only watched, but its brain responded as if it had reached out its own hand. They called them mirror neurons, cells that fire both when you do something and when you watch someone else do the same thing. To your brain, at this deep level, there is barely a line between acting and observing. Watching someone lift a cup lights up the part of you that lifts cups. Seeing someone flinch stirs the part of you that flinches. Think about what that means. When you watch another person move, some part of you is already moving with them, silently, internally, before you know it's happening. This is the machinery underneath the chameleon effect. You copy people because, in a sense, your brain has already partly become them just by paying attention. Imitation isn't something you add on top of watching. Watching is already the beginning of imitation. And it doesn't stop at movement, it reaches into your face, into your feelings. A Swedish researcher named Ulf Dimberg at Uppsala University wanted to know how fast this went, so he attached tiny sensors to people's faces. Sensors sensitive enough to detect muscle movements too small to see. Then he showed them photographs, happy faces, angry faces, and he measured what happened. When people saw a smiling face, the muscles they used to smile activated. When they saw an angry face, the muscles they used to frown activated. That's not surprising on its own. But then Dimberg did something clever. He showed the faces so fast that people couldn't consciously see them. A flash, gone before it registered. The mimicry still happened, their faces still answered. A smile they never saw pulled a smile they never chose. Your face was replying to something your mind never even received. So the copying isn't just posture, it's emotion. When someone near you is tense, the muscles of your own face begin faintly to hold tension. When they relax, so do you. You are constantly running a low, silent simulation of the emotional state of whoever is closest to you. This is part of why one anxious person can change the temperature of an entire room, and why calm, too, is contagious. Have you ever left a conversation feeling drained and not known why, or left one feeling lighter, warmer, more yourself? You may have been catching the other person the entire time. Now here is the twist. You might think copying is a weakness, a loss of self, a kind of spinelessness your brain should have grown out of, but it turns out to be one of the most powerful social tools you own, and you're using it without knowing. Chartrand and Barg looked closer at the chameleon effect and found something remarkable. When one person mimicked another, the person being mimicked liked them more afterward, rated the interaction as smoother, warmer, more pleasant, even though they had no idea any copying had occurred. The mimicry worked precisely because it was invisible. A Dutch researcher named Rick van Baren pushed this into the real world. In one study, waitresses in a restaurant either repeated a customer's order back word for word or simply acknowledged it. The waitresses who echoed the exact words earned dramatically larger tips, a tiny act of copying, a measurable reward. So the brain that copies is not a weak brain, it's a brain that builds trust without a single conscious thought. Mimicry is a handshake your body performs before your mind arrives. It says, I am like you, I am with you, you are safe with me. And now think about where that instinct came from. Think about the world it was built for. For almost all of human history, you did not meet strangers. You lived your whole life inside a small band, the same 40 or 50 faces from birth to death. In that world, survival was not about being right, it was about belonging. The person cast out from the group did not last long alone. The wolves, the cold, the hunger, they took the outsider first. So your ancestors who blended in survived. The ones who fell into rhythm with the group, who moved like the group, who felt what the group felt, stayed inside its warmth, and they passed that tendency to you. You are the descendant of the ones who fit, the copiers, the mirrors, the ones who caught the mood of the band and never dropped it. This is why conformity runs so deep it can override your own eyes. In the 1950s, a psychologist named Solomon Asch showed people a simple line and asked which of 3 other lines matched it in length. The answer was obvious. A child could do it, but Asch surrounded each real participant with actors who all confidently gave the same wrong answer. And a striking number of people faced with a group that disagreed with reality abandoned reality. They gave the wrong answer too, not because they couldn't see. Because the pull to match the group was stronger than the evidence in front of their face. You carry that same pull. You feel it every time a room laughs and you almost laugh before you know why. Every time a crowd stands and you rise with them. Every time everyone around you believes something and doubting it feels not just risky but physically uncomfortable. Notice what's happening here. The machinery built to keep you safe inside a band of 50 people is still running, but you no longer live in a band of 50. You live in a world of millions. You scroll past 1,000 strangers before breakfast, and that ancient copying instinct doesn't switch off just because the crowd got bigger. It reaches for whatever faces are in front of you now. The influencer, the commenter, the stranger with a confident voice and 10,000 followers. Your brain treats them like the band. It leans toward them. It catches their mood. It wants to move in their rhythm. Have you ever picked up a phrase you never used to say? A way of standing, of gesturing, of ending your sentences? Watch closely and you can often trace it. To a friend, a show, a person you spent time around, you absorbed them. You became a little more like them without ever agreeing to. This is why the people you surround yourself with matter more than you think. Not because of what they tell you, because of what your brain copies from them when no one is paying attention. Their calm or their anxiety, their generosity or their bitterness, their pace, their posture, their emotional weather. You are quietly always downloading the people closest to you. There's a researcher named Robert Proven who spent years studying laughter. He found that you are far more likely to laugh when others are laughing, and that most laughter isn't even a response to a joke. It's a social sound, a way of syncing with the people around you. Laughter, he found, is one of the oldest ways humans fall into rhythm together. You felt it. A room breaks up laughing, and you're pulled in before your mind catches the joke. So what do you do with this? You could try to stop copying. You can't. The machinery is older than your will, buried under your awareness, faster than your intention. Dimberg proved your face answers before you even see the question. You will never fully switch it off. But you can choose what you stand near. You can decide with the one part of this that is yours to decide whose rhythm you spend your days inside, because you are going to catch something from the people around you. That was never optional. The only question is what. You are not a fixed thing moving through a world of other fixed things. You are porous, absorbent, constantly shaped by whoever you let close. The people around you are not just company. They are becoming part of how you move, how you feel, how you are. So the next time you're standing in a conversation and the other person leans against the wall, and a moment later, without ever deciding to, you lean too, you'll know. Nothing small just happened. Something ancient did. You just felt the oldest instinct you own, quietly reaching out to become someone else.